Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Russell Jackman and Mike McDowd. At each commercial break, we are going to ask a fun trivia question. I think these questions are going to be a little easier than they have been in the past. And we have a special guest we're going to introduce in the next segment who's been on the show a couple of times, a friend of the show. Mike, why don't you tell us who's going to be our guest?
Yeah, just really have had the pleasure of getting to know this guy, and he's first of all, he's a heck of a good guy, away from basketball, whatever. Why? Because he's doing our show again. So there's something very lovable about our guest, the great, the one and the only Bill Cartwright. Played. I mean, listen, if you know anything about the Bay Area, Northern California, college basketball, Bill defined the sport in many respects in our era, in our area. So we're going to talk a little about really what it was like to play in high school, Elk Grove High, USF, the home of the Mighty Dons, and of course his incredible days playing in the NBA. But you know what? There's so much more to this guy than basketball. I'm telling you, man, we need a couple shows just to talk about his life. Interesting guy, Bill. Can't wait to talk to you.
Yeah, and don't forget to. I want to ask Bill about the how he's seen the center change since he's been playing, because there's a lot more 3-pointers. Giannis, Luka Doncic, and all that. All right, audience, stay with us. You are listening. I say, yeah, it's easy for you to say, yeah. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. When we come back, we're going to reintroduce our guest, Bill Cartwright. Don't touch that dial.
Is Bill okay?
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Russell Jackman, Mike McDowd, and Mike, please introduce our guest.
Yeah, definitely. He's a guy. He's a guy that we've really. If you're a basketball fan, especially in the Bay Area, and if you're a fan of the Chicago Bulls, the NBA, you know him, you love him. His name is pretty well known. Full name James William Cartwright. Love that name because Bill and I have the same middle name. So Bill, I knew there was something special about you. In fact, Bill may not remember that I first met Bill when I was a punk kid. I think I was in junior high school at, get ready for this, Bill, Bob Gaylord, Phil Smith basketball camp. You were just hanging out. You showed up one day and you were shooting around with us kids. And man, it was so much fun to meet you. And you were super cool then, and you haven't changed. But Bill, so many great things to talk a little bit about your life and your days playing ball. But I think one of the coolest things to really hit upon, and you're going to have to correct me, but is it, if we were going into one of your favorite places, which is it French's Froggy Cafe? Is that what it is, Bill? Is that your restaurant?
Okay, it's one thing. Thank you guys for being on. It was fun the last time. I'm sure we'll have more fun tonight. But yeah, it's Froggy's French Cafe. It's in Highwood, Illinois.
Yeah, my question, Bill, what's the top 3 dishes you have to order when you go there? What's your favorite?
Oh, you gotta have soup. Start with the soup, of course. And I'm a big fan of specialties of the house, whether it's a chicken that I'd like to have, a stuffed chicken, cordon bleu. That's excellent. I'm a big fish guy, so either the barramundi, which is probably preferable, that I really, really like. But a lot of people come there for just the escargot that I've tried. Awesome. Duck, awesome. So you really can't go wrong.
So is this a traditional French restaurant then?
Yeah, our chef is French. Can't get any more traditional than that.
uh, you know, Bill, where did do you have a love affair for French food, or have you gone to France? What inspired you to get into this? I mean, I've never heard anybody talk to you about this, by the way, so I'm fascinated. I'm a food guy. I know you are too. So, what motivated you, inspired to open a French restaurant?
Well, for one thing, when Froggies became available quietly, it was a restaurant that I had always gone to since I came to Chicago in 1988. I love the guys there, the waiters, very personable place, small place. So I found myself going there for like lunch and dinner. And I just really, really liked it. So when it became available, all my friends told me not to buy it. Every single one of them. Probably talked to 30 people. Don't do it. So of course I did it.
A restaurant. Yeah,
So
I have a campground, a kind of a resort campground, and we have a restaurant there, and so we were running it for the first year and a half, and people don't understand the business. It's a lot of people say, oh, I want to own a restaurant, because I love food or I love to cook, and it's like, yeah, no, that's you gotta love the business side of it because you're dealing with employees and patrons and all that. Can we get into a little basketball? Is that okay, Mike?
No, I just want to talk about Bill's off the court stuff, man. Of course, we can talk hoops.
Okay, because I know Russell's going to have a lot of questions because he's a huge basketball fan. I do want to ask though. First, I was telling the audience just as we were leaving for the commercial break. How have you seen the center, because you were center, change in the last 30 years? Because it's a lot of these centers nowadays are hitting these 3-pointers, and that didn't seem to be a big thing when you were playing.
No, basketball used to be a position type of game where there was actually a point guard. Your 2s and 3s were scorers. Your 4s were rebounders and maybe scorers. And your 5s were protectors. They were defensive players. They could score inside. They were big. Now the league has evolved to virtually a positionless league. You can see your center bring the ball to the floor, which happens a lot.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Everybody's a 3-point shooter, which of course, for us old guys, makes no sense. And actually, it's interesting because post-ups which were a big focal part of the game, focal point. Now nobody posts up. So consequently,
Yeah.
it's my belief, guys have trouble scoring inside. They can't do it. They don't have any post moves. And they actually score better outside than they do inside. So they're better outside scores than our inside game. So it's kind of weird right now. I think it's going to come back eventually. Some coach is going to say, hey, wait a minute. It's easier to score inside. So if they'll do that, they'll win. And then now everybody else will go back to posting up. So it is what it is right now. It's a little nonsense for us, but the league basketball has always changed, and it will continue to.
Okay. Russell, go ahead. I know you've been wanting to ask questions.
Big topic around the NBA right now is the situation of tanking. And I wanted to know what your thoughts were, A, on teams that tank, and B, if you have any ideas what could be done to prevent teams from tanking during the season.
Well, I think that's interesting because are they tanking or are they just bad teams? So it's just interesting to watch because I think some teams are just bad. If you have a team that has no league leaders in rebounding, scoring, steals, assists, and a team with nobody on the All-Star team, that's probably a bad team. So to me, they're not tanking, they're just bad teams. Now there's this weird thing going on where people are not playing back-to-back games. They get tweaked, they're injured, they got bad backs. They have high ankle sprains that, in my era, we never heard of. You had an ankle sprain. I don't know how you have a high or low ankle sprain. Now, what difference does it make anyway? So it's just a really, really different time. I don't think a lot of that happens, but I do think there's a lot of bad teams.
Gotcha. Hey guys, we're going to cut to our first commercial break here. Before we do, I do have a silly joke of the week. Ready? So I thought my first girlfriend might be the one for me, but after looking through her underwear drawer and finding a maid's outfit, a nurse's uniform, and a police uniform, I figured if she can't hold down a job, she's not right for me. All right, here's our first trivia question. And again, just as a reminder, if you know the answer, don't say anything until we get right back from the break. This one should be an easy one for us old timers. What was the very first video ever played on MTV? And extra special credit if you know the artist as well. All right, that's our trivia question. What was the first video ever played on MTV? All right, stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with Russell Jackman, Mike McDowd, our special guest, Bill Cartwright. First trivia question, what was the very first video ever played on MTV? And Russell, I saw your hand raised.
Yeah, I want to give our guest a chance to answer.
Okay, Bill, you want to answer that one?
Look, I like James Brown. I like Motown. I'm not an MTV guy. So I have zero chance of that.
I'll throw it to Mike. I'll throw it out because he always says I interrupt him before he has a chance to answer.
Do you know, Mike?
Well, I mean, I should know this, and
It's ironic. It's an ironic.
is it Michael? Is it Michael? Is it Jackson?
No,
No,
the
no.
Buggles. The Buggles. I'll give you
79.
that hint. It's the Buggles.
Wait, what's it? Yeah, with Bugles, not the
I
Buggles.
think it's the Buggles.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess, you know what? It does say two G's. It's
Yes.
funny. I always thought it was the Bugles.
No, it's the Buggles. It's the Buggles.
Interesting.
It's the
Okay.
Buggles.
Video killed the radio star.
Video killed a radio star. That's
I remember
correct.
that.
Now, here's my trivia question for you. There's only one NFL team that has the players' numbers on the helmets. Which team is that?
Okay,
Oh,
wait.
I got it.
Not Pittsburgh because they.
Nope, not
Hold on.
Pittsburgh. Mike?
You said
Sure.
the names on the helmets.
No, the
the
number.
number.
The player's number.
I'm gonna go
Is on-
Washington Commanders.
No.
Chargers? Is it the Chargers?
Chargers. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
They're the only ones that
And-
do the old.
And
I think that's anyone.
our special guest is Bill Cartwright. Bill, speaking of the Chargers, I don't know about you, because I had a question for you. Of course, we're going to talk basketball, but I know you grew up in the Bay Area. We're Niners fans. That's my first question. But you got to admit, guys, those Charger uniforms are fantastic. You got the numbers, the powder blue. Bill, what do you think?
When I was a kid, of course, I watched the Niners. Everybody loved the Raiders. What I didn't like about football was you would run on first down, run on second down, and throw on third down. And I
Yeah.
thought that was absurd. So the first team I saw who threw on first down, Cowboys. So
Cowboys.
I'm like, wow, that's my team. These guys are like innovative. They ran the shotgun. They threw their tight end. They were exciting. So since I was a kid, that's been my team.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I always thought it was ridiculous to, like you said, run on first down, right, and then going up the middle all the time. It's just like, ridiculous.
The 2 yards in the cloud of dust philosophy.
Yeah, and listen, guys, we're not doing our friend justice here. Bill grew up, born in Lodi, California, grew up in Elk Grove, went to Elk Grove High School, home of the Thundering Herd. Player won a state championship there with the Herd, and then of course went on to the University of San Francisco, did some incredible things for the Dons when the Dons were the talk of the town. And it's an era that I still have a love affair with Bill. I mean, it's never been duplicated again. I am assuming the Bill Russell era had to be very similar to that at USF. I mean, there's a love affair that your playing days at USF, sadly, and I do say sadly, just never has been. It's just never. It's never been duplicated, and boy, and it's got to be so special for you when you look at what you've done and what Bill Russell's team has done. Teams that did.
Well, at USF, we've always had great tradition, what started back in 1949 when we won the NIT. And then the Russell years, that's 2 championships. But even in the 60s, when we had Ollie Johnson, Joe Ellis, and that group, the problem with that group is that, we had this team down the road in LA at UCLA. They were kind of a problem. So it was really hard to get past them. But then even before me, we had Eric Bergston, Kevin Rastani, Phil Smith, who went on to win a championship. So we've always had conference winning teams. It's just really hard to surpass what they did with Bill Russell was there. So when I was a sophomore, we were the #1 team in the country. For 3 of the 4 years, we won the conference. We're in the tournament every year. The furthest we ever got was 16. So it was a little bit frustrating for me, and we never got further than that. But we did represent, I think, our school really well. So I was really happy to be at USF. Great tradition, great people, great intent, and it's still going on.
Yeah, it just seems like there's been a lot more competition, a lot more money coming into it, and Duke and Indiana from, the early 80s. And, whereas it just the expansion of the competition seems to have kind of maybe made the Dons not as competitive. Go ahead, Russell.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to.
Well,
I asked you this before when I was on the show prior to this, but whenever we used to play horse when I was a kid or a younger man, we would do the Bill Cartwright free throw shot, and we would mimic your deal where you have your arms up in the air and you fixed it, and then you'd sort of push with both hands, and your whole body would move as just like one unit up in the air, and you were very accurate at it. I gotta say, it wasn't like you were Shaquille O'Neal. But how did you ever come up with that as a way? I've never seen another person shoot free throws like you have, and you were good at it. But how did you even come up with that as an idea of how to shoot free throws? Because it's not like anybody else in the world.
Well, for one thing, and it's not something you do, it's just something that kind of happens. When I watch myself on tape, it's even like confusing to me how that happened, but again, that's what I kind of felt. And, it's kind of like a quirky golf swing. It just kind of works out that way.
It's really one of a kind. I also wanted to ask, do you ever go back to visit Elk Grove?
Every year. I go back every year.
Every year. Are you amazed with how it used to be such a sleepy town? Are you amazed with how big it's gotten?
It's huge. It's huge. It's matter of fact, we're one
the industry is.
Well, the thing about this is that where one high school was when I was there because I really lived in South Sac. There's somewhere between 11 and 13 high schools now that represents that area. So that area has really grown. I mean, Elk Grove, when I was there, was less than 4,000 people. Now it's
Wow.
represented by, I don't know, 300,000 people. That's a bunch of folks in one area.
Well, Bill, let's talk a little bit about your love affair of that area, Sacramento, and I think the essence of it, who you are. I know that you were greatly inspired by your father, and his incredible work ethic as a farmer, and I know that you are put it this way. Your summers were not a typical high school summer. You were in the fields working, picking berries, chopping sugar beets, doing the fields. That alone had to shape you as a man, as a person. And talk a little bit about that ethic, your parents, and their incredible role on you. Is that not true?
Well, you just learned how to work. My dad was the ultimate worker. My dad, we share the same first name, but he's James Allen. When he was a kid, his nickname was Man. And that's because when he was a kid, he could do the work of a man. So this guy believed in just working really hard. And so during the summer, we picked tomatoes, whole sugar beet fields, big bears, during the weekends, mow lawns, paint houses. You just work, you just learn how to work. So it was actually when I was in junior high school and high school, I was fortunate to be able to get out of that and play some basketball, play some sports. I played football, played baseball, played basketball, happily, anything to get out of those fields. So, but yeah, you learn to work, you learn to spend time. More is better because my dad always wanted do a good job. So you get there early, you stay late, you get the job done, and then you move out. So that's really what I learned from my dad.
All right, guys, we're going to go to our second commercial break here. Richard Hatch is the very first winner of which reality TV show? That's our trivia question. Stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman, Mike McDowd, our special guest, Bill Cartwright. Second trivia question, Richard Hatch is the very first winner of which reality TV show?
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead, Mike.
Well, you know what? I know exactly. I know. Hold on, and Russell, you can help me with this one. I know what it is. It's this. It's on the dang island. It's on. Well,
Survivor.
Yeah, thank you.
Survivor. That is not correct.
And he was known for walking around naked during the show.
Right. Good times.
Yeah.
Good times on that one. No thanks.
Go ahead, Russell. What's the name of it?
Survivor.
Survivor. That's correct. Okay. Very good. All right. Good. And Bill, you have I think we promoted your book last time. You have a book, right?
You mean this one?
There it is. Yeah. Why don't you read it out to the audience so they can hear it, at least hear it on the radio?
It's Bill Cartwright, Living Life at the Center. Autobiography. It's about my family, my life growing up, high school, college, NBA, coaching, and then basically going full circle back to USF. A lot of life lessons learned in there. One big one is that when somebody says you can't win them all, you're wrong, because when I was a junior in high school, we won it all. We're 30 now. So it's just a lot of lessons that doesn't matter where you are. If you hang in, you hang tough. That's how Elk Grove High School went to Northern California Championship, almost a Hoosiers kind of a story. But you can do whatever you want to do if you just believe it. So it's all about work, baby. It's all about getting it done. Bill Cartwright, Living Life at the
Yeah.
Time.
Hey, Bill, that book, talk a little bit about that because I was just going to ask you that question. Edward beat me to the punch, but I know that you wrote it with your lovely wife, who you met in junior high
Yes.
school. Talk a little about that bond coming together as man and wife, writing a book about you, and how much credit do you give her to making you a better man in life? Is she anywhere in the
Well,
room so she can hear this?
she's not in the room and she claims she can't hear what I'm saying, but she probably is listening right now. But I'm pretty focused on what I want to do. I'm not the kind of guy that you can't tell me what we can or can't do because I'm a true believer in if you want to do something, get it done. So when the pandemic happened, we decided to work on this book project, and I'll tell you what, it took about a couple failures. You write a couple hundred pages, and then twice, and then stop and do it again to find a format, and then figure out what you want to write about. So, so basically, with me happening and her typing or writing, we were able to get it done. But it took a couple years. And it was a great project. It was a great project for not only for myself and her, but for my family, for my teammates that I included, for my coaches that I included, to be able to relive those days of how things happened. So it was fun. It was a great project. So I really enjoyed it. And yeah, she just did a ton
How
of
did you guys stay together? Oh, let me ask you, how did, because you always hear about divorces and stuff with athletes because of the travel and the wives can't always come with you. How did you guys keep it together?
well, we keep it together because I think a big part of it, you got to decide if you're going to be together or not, good or bad. And then now, I am extraordinarily busy. I like it that way. But I think, when you're in a relationship with somebody, you have to decide, is this the person you're going to be with forever? I know this is pretty much it for me. I don't think I'm going another direction. So you got to make that decision and got to hang in, hang tough. I do have 4 kids, 8 grandkids. So there's you're really, really busy with that. So family is really important to us. I grew up in a big family. I have 6 sisters. So our family is everything. And
Sweet.
there it is.
Hey, Bill, one of the important questions I want to talk to you about, first of all, 3 NBA World Championships with the Chicago Bulls. I believe 2 as a coach, so 5 overall. But so many cool things have happened in your life. Congratulations, by the way. I know that this past year you were inducted into the Bulls Ring of the Honor Ring for the Chicago Bulls Ring of Honor. Congratulations on that. And then this coming year in the city of Sacramento, you're going to be inducted into the Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame. So those are some cool honors. Talk a little bit about that and what that means to you, because it's got to bring things kind of full circle in many respects, doesn't it?
Well, I'm already in the Sacramento Sports Hall of Fame. And
Okay.
there's this Chicago Hall of Fame that I'm in as well. But the last event, the Bulls Ring of Honor, that was cool. That was really cool. The Bulls did a great job. They inducted myself, John Allen, Horace Grant, and Johnny Bach. And also Neil Funk. So it was really, really cool. They did a great job. Really appreciated that and acknowledgement of that. So just very, very cool stuff to be able to reconnect with the Wolves.
Go
Yeah, I have
ahead,
a question. Bill, over the weekend, we lost former coach Doug Moe, and I wanted to know what your thoughts were. You played against him, I think, when some of the teams that he was a coach of, and what were your thoughts of him?
Well, those kind of guys are, like Doug Mo's a tough coach, old time coach. And I think that he was a product of his times that, unlike today, he had his own offense. He had his own defensive schemes. He got guys to play extraordinarily hard. Obviously, he was really coachable. Players liked him. I never had a chance to play or for him, but just watching them, everybody had a lot of respect for him. So when you see or hear those kind of names, it's like, wow, yeah, that was really cool because it was a cool time in basketball.
how often do you get a chance to go to a Bulls game nowadays?
Just when I'm in Chicago, I'm in Sacramento right now, and as you know, I'm still doing some work for our great school, the University of San Francisco. So when I get down there, we go to the games. On great occasions, I go to practice. I try to grab some of my grandkids and go in there, let them look around the building. So it's great. It's great to come back and look around. Fans always appreciate seeing you. Both games are still really fun, even though they're not winning to a high level. But they're definitely entertaining. So they've got some really talented guys. And I'm always curious to where they're headed, like everybody else. And if in fact they can get back in the playoffs and do some damage. So we'll see.
I think
Hey,
isn't Dave Bullwinkle still, remember, we've had Dave Bullwinkle on a couple of times, and I think he's still one of the scouts, I think, for the Bulls. Go ahead, Mike.
No, Bill can answer that. No, Bill, quick question, with your expertise in the game of basketball, and you truly are an expert. I watch it one way. I played high school ball, I played a little small college basketball, but you played at such an elite level. One of the interesting, you coach at the highest level, you played at the highest level. Your alma mater, have they never approached you to become a head basketball coach for the University of San Francisco? Because I mean, listen, to me, you're a no-brainer. Or maybe you just didn't want to do it. What was it? Any of those?
Well, I think if you look at college basketball right now, or NBA basketball, let me ask you a question. How many big guys you see coaching the NBA right now? How many big guys are head coaches in the NBA? And let me help you. None. It's a guard league right now.
Yeah.
If that's what fits the suit, that's why
Yeah.
you're seeing all these triple handoffs and screen rolls, and there is nobody there to coach post up. So that's the flavor of what's going on right now. That's the flavor of college basketball. All these 3-point shots, and I would say they're inappropriate shots, but that's what's going on right now. Now, in saying that, on occasion, especially at college, teams do post up, and they do a good job of doing that. So I'm a big believer in variety of scoring, and the teams that are good, they do that. The teams that are on the border.
I guess the whole thing about the 3-pointers, you don't have to make as many baskets to get the same amount of points. They're playing the odds, I
Well,
think.
whatever they're playing, I'm not buying that because when we were at USF, we averaged 85 points a game, And I can promise you 3/4 of teams in college basketball don't average that. So any shot outside of that paint is a less than 50% shot. So you can throw all the numbers you want at me. Unless you're Curry, if you're Craig Hodges, if you're Trent Tucker, if you're somebody special, 3-point specialist, you better get yourself to the basket because that's a 50+% shot in there.
Well, I think about when I was a kid, Will Chamberlain was my hero for basketball, and it's like I don't know, he had like an 80% percentage because he pretty much was dunking. No, and that's a high percentage shot. Tell you what, guys, we're going to cut to our last trivia question here. Again, this is an easy one. I decided to make it easy for you guys this time. What 1994 Quentin Tarantino movie stars John Travolta and Samuel Jackson as hitmen? I know, I had to give you. Listen, sometimes I give you questions, Mike, and you go, oh, you throw up your hands, So this one I figured I'd make it an easier one for you.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
What 1994 Quentin Tarantino movie stars John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson as hitmen? All right, when we come back, we are going to have some thoughts for the day and a little bit extra from hearing from Bill Cartwright. Don't touch that dial. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Russell Jackman, Mike McDowd, and our special guest, Bill Cartwright of the famous Chicago Bulls. Okay, third trivia question. What 1994 Quentin Tarantino movie stars John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson as hitmen? Bill, what's the answer to that one?
You know what? I'm going to leave that for you guys. That's pretty easy one. So I'm going to let you.
Go ahead, Mike.
Lay Big Mac with cheese.
The answer?
Must be
Go ahead,
one,
Russell.
that must be one charming effing pig.
But you got to give the answer to what's the name
It's
of the
Pulp
movie?
Fiction. It's Pulp
Pulp
Fiction.
Fiction. Yeah, it's funny because
Fiction.
that was John Travolta's like rebirth because he had done some really gnarly movie, just terrible
It was
movies.
a weird movie when it first came out.
Yeah, kind of like.
Hey,
Well, we have just a quick 45 seconds. Go ahead. What do you want to ask?
Just want to thank Bill's teammate Marvin DeLoach for putting this all together. So thank you, Marvin. And Bill, just a thrill to get to know you a little bit. And you're spending your valuable time with sharing your life stories. And so thank you for coming on. Really, from our hearts to yours. Thank you.
And one last question for you, Bill. Who's going to win the NBA title this year?
It's going to be a little tricky. Everybody can say OKC because they're playing great. There's a couple teams to be really afraid of. San Antonio, you should be scared of them. You should be scared of them. You should be scared of this. Boston's really scary. So, but right now, you give yourself a chance. So, right now, OKC's in a tough slot. Unless they get hurt, they'll be back.
And I say bring back the Seattle Supersonics. Okay.
Where can we get Bill's book?
Yeah, Bill, where do you get your book?
You can look at
Is it Amazon or?
my book will be on Amazon this month. You can pick it up, or you can look at my site, bill-cartwright.com.
Okay.
It's very easy to find.
Bill-Cartwright.com.
There you go. bill-cartwright.com. Pick it up.
Oh,
Enjoy
all
it.
right, you ready here? Thanks again, Bill, for being our guest. Okay, here's our thoughts for the day. So I went for a job interview, and the interviewer asked me to describe myself in one word. I said, I can't follow directions very well. And my 11-year-old asked if she was adopted, and I said, yeah, not yet. All right, tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, your host. We'll see you next week.
Adios.